and welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host and NWL and IWL Commissioner, Alex G. Along with me, as always, IWAR Commissioner Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
Fighting through the pain. Fighting through the pain.
Election fever is in full swing here.
Yeah.
Sad face. Speaking of elections, I guess we should get this out of the way first. The IWA Rock the Vote. They just sent out a message, I guess, on their webpage.
Yep.
I guess I'll read it out loud for everyone to hear. And I quote, "Rock the IWA Vote. It has been recently brought to our attention that some of our players are engaged in discussion involving the rule which forbids managers from having their own wrestlers compete against one another. Some apparently feel we have failed to enforce this rule adequately, which is fair criticism. Others question the merits of the rule within the game in the current landscape. In the spirit of today's democratic elections, we would like to open dialogue with you, our players, on the subject. We value your opinion and perspective, and want to ensure that all the facets of this important issue are considered before the final decision is reached. Please share your thoughts on the matter with Kimberly. She will forward them to the IWA management for further deliberation. Here are some ideas for points to address. Matches between wrestlers owned by one manager versus those between stable members who have coordinated strategies. The ramifications of limits of managers' ability to manipulate the places by controlling both or all strategies involved. Multi-man matches, tag team and six-man, in which one or both teams are comprised of wrestlers belonging to multiple managers, bearing in mind that players submitting matches may not be aware of these ownership details. Increased frequency of player confusion and frustration resulting from substitution of opponents. Potential effects on league activity. Automatic matches such as when the TV championship is pitted against the league championship. Matches arranged for the purpose of determining commissioner titles, contest outcomes, or similar objectives. Storyline or angles will may occasionally require matches between wrestlers owned by a single manager. We greatly appreciate your feedback on this topic and let your voice be heard." Interesting solicitation for feedback from the IWA here.
Yeah, it was funny because one of the guys sent me a message on Facebook and was like, "What do you think about the Rock the Vote?" And I didn't know what he was talking about. So he was like, "Oh, the IWA homepage." So I went to the page, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" Now, I haven't seen them do this often, and in fairness, I haven't dug through the IWA archives to see the times we may have done this before. But I always feel like whenever the IWA does something kind of like this, it's usually something that happens to cause it. So I sent an email over to Kim and was like, "So, did I miss something? Did something happen?" And she just said an anonymous player. I'll give you. I won't read the whole entire email, but IWA responded back to me very thoughtfully, and I was really kind of surprised. Because usually you get an email, it's like, "Hey, blah, blah, blah." That's it. A lot of players in this game. And, of course, how you play may not be the way I play. And that's not really a big problem these days because the league, there's like 60-some-odd leagues. So there's plenty of places to play. Essentially what happened was they said someone emailed them anonymously and just expressed those very things that they were just laid out there, you just read. And that the overall crux seemed to be that they were worried about the integrity of the game because certain players playing certain, had to have their own wrestlers. And in my response to them, I kind of said, overall, my perspective is this. None of us know the holds in the game. So no matter what happens, in theory, the best wrestler should always be the champion.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had a title shot against the league champion, who I also managed, and you were, let's say, the Atlantic champion, I'm the TV champion, and my TV champion beats the league champion by the most points. I have a 500 strategy, and you have a 499, but you should have had the title because I own both wrestlers. I understand the gripiness about that a little bit, but I think none of us know the values. And to me, having a shot at a league or a TV title means you have a shot at the IWA championship or the US championship. So that should come into play over that rule.
Yeah.
I think that rule is outdated, and we've had a dialogue, you had talked about it before the show, with them kind of going back and forth. And I don't know who started this, but I think if we talk about some of these things and kind of get some things out in the air, that's fine. I don't believe there's any worry if you challenge your own wrestler for the league or TV. I think regionals, I don't challenge my own wrestlers for regionals. I just don't do that. The only time I challenge my own wrestlers is for the major titles
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they're going to face all the regional champions regardless who owns them.
Right.
And that's fine. And it doesn't really matter because if you still have to pull out the best strategy from all the players that challenge them anyway. So just because you challenge your own wrestler, and even if you try to bomb a strat on purpose, put a double in there or what have you, or a strat that it's going to be low, it's not going to help you against everyone else.
And I'll say this. I know there are things percolating over at the IWA offices. They're working on a few things to improve the game. I don't know what they're going to end up rolling out, but something's coming. And I hope it works well. We've seen some hits and misses. UWL, you were talking about earlier, a big hit. People like it. Other leagues, flash in the pans. But we've talked before about those leagues that kind of come and go. Usually, the big determining factor is a commissioner that shows up and does the work.
Yep.
Doesn't, and if they don't show up and do the work, the league falters. So as far as these various things go, I think the unifying answer for almost, I'd say, over half of them is it's not going to affect the integrity of the game if the best strategy wins.
Yeah.
I would say on the other side of the coin, if I had a 501 strategy at TV, right, and I have a perfect point flow, I should win the world title, right, and I can't challenge the league champion because I also run him, and the guy who's at the Atlantic Championship has a 498 and wins the belt, I'm bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, player-wise, I'd be like, that's bullshit. So I think there's no problem there. The part about multiple managers combining strategies, it's the internet world, man. Those days are well gone.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk on a daily basis at this point.
Right, and
that's not any different than if I run 3 guys and coordinate my strategy with my own guys.
Right, and it's no secret that you run Luther Alexander and I run Hussif Adam Cash and Fatty the Butcher, and we work on our 6-man strategy together. That's not a secret.
Nope.
I know Mark Duchesne, Keith Maple, you go back and forth. Some stables have a lot of wrestlers in the leagues. I think the only thing I saw on here was about players challenging themselves. If there's a league out there, like I know the CSL one time was like all edge wrestlers, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, it's like all edge wrestlers. But I didn't know how many players were in there. Now, if there was 2 players, they were just taking turns going back and forth. End of the day, they're still paying to play.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like, the league's kind of a Mo league, but it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. And the part of the IWA that kind of becomes more individualistic is, like, for example, this past cycle, I hit a 501 with Fatty the Butcher. He won a regional. And I was thinking, wow, I have maybe an outside shot at a national title. Not really. But I was kind of hoping. So when I saw the sneak preview, I was like, damn, he didn't win a damn thing. So 501, but really, I can sit here and go, oh man, there's these guys flooding the game. I don't really care. It comes down to it. IWA is more like golf than football. It's how you do on your own against yourself than you overcoming these odds. So, I worry about that. I think league activity-wise, well, if there's an impact, if they really enforce this rule, I think it would drop matches because for myself, there have been times when I've had to use some free matches or bump up my match totals because I had to cover some title shots. So, like this, for example, in the CWL, like if I had Victor von Schnapp with the TV title, well, let's say Alex von Schnapp, right? And then I have Victor and Barry ranked 1 and 5. They qualify. I can't send those matches in. That hurts the activity because that's 2 matches I can't send in.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a really minor detail. I think if anything, it's probably sour grapes. But
someone missed out on something and they got mad.
Right. And the storyline or angles which may require matching wrestlers owned by a single manager. Well, I know like in the BRL, what we do now is like the global championship right now is between Sir Gunter Kinderwacht, the challenger, and he's challenging Punk Rock Mike, 2 different players. But what I do is in the rankings is we use the past 3 months average strat value total to determine the number 1 contender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, though, is let's say the number 1 contender ends up being Sinister Steve Stryker, which is also, and let's say Gunter wins the title, who's run by Mark Duchesne, and Steve Stryker, also run by Mark Duchesne, is number 1 contender. What we do is if you own the same wrestler, that title shot bumps to the number 2 contender. That way it's always a different player getting involved. And the manager who runs both wrestlers just, bite the bullet, dude. You still have the title.
Yeah.
So it's I think the best way to get more players involved. But I think it's, this Rock the Vote thing, I don't know where it came from. I mean, curious. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I did it, you can contact me. I won't out you if you don't want me to, but I will say, hey, if I had to guess, I'd lean towards a newer player because, like we've talked before, Alex, about a lot of new players contact us with questions. We get this one about every 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah, we recently got it a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so it could be,
especially, I could see them knowing how we felt about this because, we put it out there already and we've answered this question numerous times.
Right.
At this point, I could see them going around us a little bit and just going directly up to the IWA.
Sure.
Because we weren't going to give them an answer they wanted anyway.
Yeah.
So we're not mad at you. It's okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just these things happen. And I think, too, is that players should realize the IWA is very open to ideas, to changes. I've worked on a number of things, and I know I've gotten some heat in the past because people go, oh, you get to do all these things. Well, yeah, honestly, to be perfectly honest about it, the IWA does give the IOR Leagues a lot of freedom to create. But the other side of that coin is we generate a lot of activity for them. So there's a kind of give and take. You might see like what's going on with the ASL right now. Frank Snow is working. This is not an IOR league, but Frank Snow is working on things in ASL as it ramps up to its 500th bulletin. They gave him a lot of like bonuses and prizes to kind of ramp up activity. And that's because Frank's put a lot of work in, and he's worked very hard to get people in there.
Definitely, if you establish a track record, putting out quality content and having high league activity, they're going to be more apt to listen to you anyway.
Right.
And they give you stuff.
Right. And that's the thing is I've pitched some ideas to them over the years. They've said no, and it's fine. And I pitched other ideas, and they were like, cool.
Like last year, we had our first paid contest for the NWL, and we did amazing in there.
Yeah.
So when I come up with a paid contest for the IWL or another one for the NWL, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, you made a bunch of money off the last one you did, so let's go forward."
Not to foreshadow too much, but like the Bound for Glory series, the way I'm doing that series is based entirely off the wrestler's total value of their strats. There's no matches involved. Players paid $1 to get into it, and that just funds the prize.
Yeah.
But next year, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the top 8 contenders for the top 8 ranked wrestlers by points in each of the 4 leagues to generate the matches. Because this way we don't have, like right now, we're at like, I think 20 singles wrestlers, and that pool's fine. Whereas the Johnny B Cup, I'm probably going to bump the cost up to really ramp up the prizes and make it more of a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, as a player, you can play anywhere you want. I mean, you can't transfer in any particular league. Some leagues have no transfer policy. But for the most part, you can go into any single league you want to and play. Remember that. If you don't like a league, don't stay there. Don't stay. If you're not happy in a league, you're not having fun, go to another league. There's a lot of leagues out there. We did a count on it recently. In 2005, which is the furthest, January 2005, that's the furthest IWA archive that I had online to look at how many leagues they had.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2005, there were 73 leagues. Okay? As of this past cycle, there are 64 leagues. Now, that's gone up a bit, but it's never dropped lower than 63.
But how many of those are dead leagues anyway?
Right, and that's the thing. Of those leagues, only 17 have a limit as far as like roster limits.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's 1 with the LWL or it's 10 with, I think it's the NAL or one of those leagues. I forget which one it was. But that's very small, but that's, still gives you almost 80% of the leagues to play free willy at,
Mm-hmm.
So I would say as player, play where you have fun. Don't sit there and be like, oh man, this league's terrible, I'm bored. You know what? Spend the buck, transfer out.
And sometimes you're in a league for too long and you lose the creative juices, right. And it's time to make a move.
Right.
And you should really look into that, especially if you're sometimes they change the venue or change the scenery, so to speak. It can really help you out. We're going to do a fall cycle in a review. So we're going to start off with the BRL. League champion, Sinister, Steve Stryker, TV, Agent 26. Atlantic, Hot Stuff, Adam Cash. Central, Jane, the Vixen Red. Dixie, Colonel Dirk Vanderbeck. Eastern, Fatty the Butcher. Mountain, Chief, Bold, Gray Fox. Northern, General Bob Rockbone. Pacific, Shortstop Austin. Prairie, Urban Model, Aisha Diaz.
Ooh.
I knew a girl named Aisha. That's a story.
Oh.
Southern, Dirty, Dave Taylor. Western, El Dragon de Oro. I think that's the Gold Dragon, if my Spanish was correct. I should know this, right? Yeah. Fuck. Tag team, Hot Stuff, Adam Cash, and Fatty the Butcher.
You damn right it is.
Stop putting yourself over.
3 5/16s in a row, baby.
Oh, woo! Here we go.
I mean, go team.
TV tag, Private Slate McRock. Commander Hack Vanderslide.
He's a hack, all right.
Yeah. 6-man, product of Arrogance 1 and 2, and Classy Eddie DeGrassi. TV 6-man, Sharpshooter Jake Scarlett, El Dragon de Oro, and the Russian Rocket Alexei Smirnov. So, Matt, what's going on in the BRL?
Oh my God! It's funny. One of my little behind-the-scenes things is I have this clipboard. So what I do is I go through the BRL and read the trash talk, and I make notes. So right now you can't see it, but this clipboard is just this page is full of notes. Lots of trash talk. Holy moly! A lot going on, and we had some more players arrive. That's cool. You know, good to see. Like I said, Hustle Adam Cash, Fatty Butcher, retain the tag, so that's kind of cool. I enjoy the 5-3 matches. Poor Fatty, you know, whatever. But Jane and Vixen Red, good to see her back on the title page.
Yeah.
Big announcement. Chief Bold Gray Fox won the best of 7 series. He came back from down 2-0, and then he was down 3. Was it 4? No, it was 3.
3-1?
Yeah, 3-1, I think. He came back and he won the series, so good for him. Good for him. I felt kind of bad because I know the Saskatchewan Sasquatch, who was Rookie of the Year last year, feud with him in the NWL and was like, oh man, you know, good little revival. Gave us 7 matches out of a best of 7, so that's cool. Oh, Senior Lucha challenged Ghostly Shadows to a Hell in a Cell match at Battlecade, which is in the holiday issue. So that'll be fun to look forward to. Rude Duty having a tough time with Luther Alexander. Looks might be changing scenery. You know, I think some of the newer faces. We had a sudden appearance by Black Wrestlers Matter from the CWL. The Tandem Champions dropped the belts and transferred over to the BRL. So we have Black Predator, Silverback Jack, Orion Overstar, all in the BRL now.
Nice.
Yeah. Grand Sabosa, or Sabrosa, I should say, not Sabosa, is on a hot streak. He's currently the #1 contender to the global title, so if he can hold on to that position, he will challenge the winner of the Sir Gunter Kinderwacht versus Punk Rock Mike match. Global tag match is still close, and the Canadian title match is close between Lumberjack Zach James challenging Canadian Hammer Jax Molson. I was like Gunnar Molson, sorry, Gunnar.
Oh,
Oh, hey, whoa, hey. Trio of baseball player related, Coach, what the hell is his name?
Coach Greg.
Coach Greg, shortstop Austin, and I think it's pitcher Ryan. You know, hey, gimmick works. Although Coach Greg took a beating, 2-23-2.
I used to know a Coach Greg in the 80s, and he used to wear short shorts, and it was weird.
Oh, well, he wears short shorts.
Okay.
From the Missing in Action files, Modern Different Mike Sebastian, still not active. He's been every time it's oh man, I meant to get active. And every time I'm all right, I'll let you know. And then I forgot to tell him. So it's partially my fault. This time, I'm getting Mike Sebastian back in the mix. Him and his 4,000 wins deserve more. We'll also Rob Calvin, Joe Sandstrom, Papa Calva, Enforcer Eric Davis, all inactive. Lumberjack Zach James, I'm thinking missed the deadline. He was inactive. That's not good. And Extreme Icon Hannibal, still inactive. But I think he's just mad at me. That's okay. I know he's still a fan. Yeah, so, there's a lot going on in the BRL. If you want to know more, go check out the IWA Ringside magazine.
We also have a cool picture by El Barbaro. He's on the... He's on, was that the $100,000 bill? Or $100 million bill? I can't count my zeros. 1 billion pesos, I'm sorry.
1 billion pesos. Oh, it's a billion peso knee lift.
Yeah.
See, I had
that's $6 American, right?
No. He's bitter.
And then we also have the feud with Frank Leatherman Snow and the Dirty Old Diapers.
Yeah, yes, Dirty Old Diapers.
Yeah, DOD. I do enjoy the Fabulous Three Birds as well.
I do. I'm looking forward to see what they do next. They're kind of in neutral right now. They're kind of just sitting there going, "Hey, we want to win." And like I said, Gran Sabosa has really been strong strat wise. He had like he had 499, 499, and 495. So he's really pushing up there. And of course, I was like, "Yay, Adam Cash, I'm going to contend." Oh no, he's not. That's the scene in the BRL.
All right. So next up is the CWL. Unified, Toxic. Streaming Media, battling Brian Kelly. United States, Great White Dragon. Yukon, Darius T. Roughshod. Caribbean, Dragon Master. Amazon Basin, Che Guerrero. British Isles, Hazard. Arabian, Craven. South African, Constantine. Siberian, Alex von Snop. East Asian, Railroad Warrior Hammer. Oceanic, Dove Gavilon. Unified Tag Team, Great White Dragon and the Dragon Master. Streaming Media Tag Team, Power Jack and Big Joe. Unified 6-man, Furious Dragon, Great White Dragon, Dragon Master. And the Streaming Media 6-man, Forgotten Vagrants, Wildcard, Garrett Shadowstar, and the Tyrant, David Hammerhead. So, Matt, what's going on in the CWL?
I think the big news is the rebound by Great White Dragon, Dragon Master, and Furious Dragon, who were kind of treading water for a while, and took down the Von Schnapps to take their belts. So they ended their little lengthy reign. They all have belts in the Dragon Master and Great White Dragon have belts, and battling Brian Kelly, battling back to win the TV title. Good for him. As we mentioned before, the CWL had a change in formula, so the Dynamite show is no longer there. It'll be back, I believe, in the spring. But there's still a lot of talent here. Things will be getting shaken up a bit soon because we have a IOR draft coming up. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I think there's a really good amount of crew here as far as talent goes. I just think it's a matter of how things develop. Now, Toxic, by the way, retained the league title.
Wow.
So he's a tough bugger. And I will tell you a personal fun note. I have had Victor Von Schnapp poised to be Wrestler of the Year in the last 3 years, and all 3 times it's like, damn it. So right now, Toxic roared by him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, like I said, there's some good wrestling in here. We have the Railroad Warriors still raising a ruckus, and the Forgotten Vagrant, Wildcard, Garrett Shadowstar, and Tyrant David Hammerhead. They were actually, when the NWL had its first tag tournament, the Johnny Vendetta Cup, they won it. It's true. It's true, as Kurt Angle would say. Sad to see Sadistic Steve Supreme go inactive, especially since I just called his ass out with Barry USA Stevens. Barry USA Stevens and Steve Supreme had quite the feud in the ASL, 2012, 13, something it was. And Barry won 7-4. I was hoping to rekindle that thing and let's do round 2, man. And poof, inactive. That's not cool. There's going to be some openings for talent here because of the draft. Some of the players that left. The CWL roster, I don't know why, but it has an ECW feel to me. I don't know why. It just does. Trash Talk at the Von Schnapps chiming in with their talking about, being the best team and all that. Barry USA Stevens, of course, called out Supreme. Alec Von Schnapp said he's looking to, enter the draft and see what happens. And the Continental Divide report breaks down the pay-per-view, what happened, which the Ethereal Guardian Memorial Battle Royal was won in a tie by Hazard and Toxic. Doug Gavilon took the Capital Championship. John Body defeated Harry Hoodstar for the Continental Championship, and Black Wrestlers Matter defeated the 1% to regain the belts. But then, as I said, they stormed off set and left the company. So I have inside word that there will be a tournament to determine a new champion.
Okay.
Put your money on the Von Schnapps. What? Who said that? What?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's CWL action. Continental Wrestling. Kids love it. He's going to puke.
All right. So next up is the IWL. League champion, Pastor Payne. Television, Rowdy Resingini. New York City champion, Crazy Carl. Los Angeles champion, Mike Mason. Boston champion Craven Cross, Detroit champion Chris Endgame, Cleveland champion Cowboy Jim Spur, Dallas champion Triple X Extreme Xavier Jimenez, Memphis Van Def Valen, Miami Luther Alexander, San Francisco Scotty Flash, Chicago Ali Atari. Tag team Craven Cross and Mike Mason. TV tag team Tim Riggins III and Magnum TL, also known as the Rough Boys. Grosses me out, to be honest. Six-man Craven Cross, Mike Mason, and Creed Michaels. TV six-man Alex Styles, Xavier Jimenez, and Dylan Matthews. So, Matt, what's going on in the IWL?
Well, your disgust over the Rough Boys name made me think of, like, one of the fun things about IWA is when someone has a wrestler name, it's like you know, like I'll just look at this roster real quick and be like, Yoder Grabber. Like, okay. Or Dr. Nathan Dunes. And be like, okay. And then their gimmick's like, I'm an alien from space. Like, what? Dude, like the gimmick doesn't match up at all to the name. Yeah. Which happens a lot, especially when you see guys who are like, I'm the toughest guy around. And like, your wrestler's Aisha, Gomez. Like, what? IWL-wise, it was a big bounce back by Revolution Extreme. They took a thumping at the pay-per-view, so they bounced back and took a bunch of belts. So that's good for them.
Yeah, you don't put Baby in the corner. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no one puts Baby in the corner. Unless she likes it that way, the sicko. The IWL is a fun league, and it's funny because when the IWL was created, the idea was to create a league that was a throwback. And it really is tough. There's no stable initials, so I know people are crying their milk over that one. But if you can get past that, there's a lot of talent here, a lot of good personalities. The trash talk's been off and on. I'd like to see a little more consistency. Noble House arrived with some new wrestlers. Scotty Flash came out and accepted the Outhouse match challenge, which, by the way, Cowboy Jim Spur won this month by 1 point. So Jim Spur won the Outhouse match. Expect the write-up next cycle. Fortune fired. We have an interview from the Pains talking about that. And then there is the new cover. So the new Independent Wrestling League report cover has Creed Michaels, and I think he's supposed to be like Tommy Angel, or what's the guy named? Chris Angel?
Well, the cover, I'll tell you about this. That's the poster for our next pay-per-view, which is Soul Survivor. Okay. That'll be Cycle 64. One other entry. The prize being a shot at the IWL Heavyweight Championship, IWA credit, and a real championship belt. So the picture, it's Creed Michaels, who uses a Jimmy Jacobs of Ring of Honor fame as his picture. So that's what the picture is all about.
You know what's funny with IWL? It is so action-packed that sometimes I forget about some of the feuds that go on. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah. I completely forgot about the first blood match between Steve the Hitman Chambers and Felix Nine Lives Bonaventura.
Yeah.
And Chambers won. Wow.
There you go.
That means he's now 2-0 in first blood matches at pay-per-views. And yes, that may as well be an Undertaker-like streak. Not doing as well the RX Challenge. They did not do well against the IWL Superstars. But that's okay. They'll rally and come back.
Yeah.
I think the biggest news is that Snodgrass lost the Fortune or Fired contest and is going to be gone from the IWL. Question is now, does he leave? Does he go to the CWL, BRL, or does he leave the whole, IWAR as a tool? Or do we have a masked guy called the Masked Dungeon Master show up?
Yeah.
Which I've always loved that gimmick. One of my friends who's a wrestling fan, Mike and Bowden, one time posted a thing about you're a real wrestling fan, and the number one thing was if you get fired from your job, you show up the next day in a hood and act like nothing's changed. Of course, we have Trash Talk from Atari, Senor Lucha, Dr. Piledriver, speaking for Jim Spur, Luther Alexander, Phantom Striker, the Empire of Chaos, Nine Lives chimes in. And we should talk about, too, is that, again, there is a new commissioner.
Yeah.
Now, you are the commissioner, but the commissioner role is Robert Race?
Robert Race, yes. He is the CEO of the International Wrestling Council, or IWC. Inside joke there. So Robert Race had won the auction Apparently, the IWA put the IWL up for auction when James Ross fell ill and ended up in a coma. So they're currently still investigating that, and we're going to see what happens there. He basically chimes off about Creed Michaels' historic achievement of winning both actually retaining the American Territories Championship and winning the IWL Heavyweight Championship on the same night. The American Territories Championship will be vacated, put up for grabs, in a best of 3 series between Aliatari and Koenig. So that should
Son of a bitch.
If it goes 3 matches, the final match will be at the Soul Survivor pay-per-view.
That's outrageous. They should have just awarded the title to Arabian Dream. He's earned it. I will say, as a competitor, competitively speaking, the IWL is sneaky tough. It's like you go in, you're like, there's like what, 15 players in this league, maybe more.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Probably close to 25.
Yeah, it might be like, it could be 25 or 30. It really is crazy. There's so many players in this league, and it's tough. It's really tough. There's like some really good players. Like I have had a really hard year the last 2 years with Atari in this league, so. Hopefully, we'll close the league strong, close the year strong, and then have a RX New Year.
Yeah. So, in addition, Samantha Soley, the executive producer of the IWL, has announced that they're going to be a War Games match between Empire of Chaos and Revolution Extreme. They're going to have to pick their teams very, very soon. So, just in looking at the report that I did, I do have to fix my logo because my logo looks kind of weird. So, I'm going to have to fix that a little bit.
What's wrong with it?
You kind of can see the outline a little bit, so I have to adjust that.
I can see where it says white power, but
Jesus Christ!
oh, sorry, just it's the current climate.
Be careful now.
Oh no!
So in addition, I'm going to go over the 4-pack challenge, which is over the next 3 cycles, the top 4 teams in the IWL, and I determined the top 4 teams by the Tag Team of the Year rankings. Will compete to earn a heavyweight tag team title shot down the road. So basically, these people a round robin type of tournament, and they get points for the following. They win the league tag team championship, they get 10 points. If they win the TV tag team championships, they get 8 points. If you submit trash talk in any form, you'll get 6 points. And if you win your match against the other competitors, you get 4 points. So once I tally up all the point totals for that, we will have a new number 1 contender for the IWL League Tag Team Championship. So the current 4 teams are Valens and Lowen, the Rough Boys, Triple X and Matthews, and the Endgames. When we played the matches, the Endgames match didn't go through correctly, so I had the contact the IWA to get the actual match result. So we'll be posting the actual match result next cycle, so no one gets mad at me. I think I'm screwing them. So that is it for the IWL. I think it's a good start. So I'm curious to see, hopefully, some of our managers get inspired, submit some trash talk, getting some feuds. And then with the new blood coming in via the draft and other nefarious means, we can start something real special. Super excited.
Yeah.
So finally, we have the NWL.
Yes.
League champion, Killer Clown. TV champion, Joe Boring. Atlantic, Big Blank number 2. Central, Marcus Monroe. Dixie, B.A. Fox. Eastern, Strict, Lee Bidness. Mountain, Touchy Feely, Fingers Fairlane. Northern, Blank. Pacific, Wonder Woman Julia. Making a comeback. Haven't seen her in a while. Prairie, the Untamed Iron Bull. Southern, Durgan. Western, Mr. Shots. Tag Team, B.A. Fox and Marcus Monroe. Tag Team, Dr. Aries and Bullman. 6-man, Killer Clown, Iron Bull, and Fingers Fairlane. TV 6-man, Aaron McFleece, Strict Lee Bidness, and Hostile Takeover. So, Matt, what's going on in the NWL?
Well, I'm happy to see Joe Boring, who writes, I will say number 1, before I get to that. The NWL right now has some of the best writing we've had in a long time. I mean, as far as like submission, quality of the submission, not just amount. Because we're finding we have sort of a smaller amount of people submitting, but what the submitting is the only asterisk I would say is that, for the love of hell, Johnny Vegas, increase the size of your font. He submits like 5 pages, and it's all fun read stuff. But like, I need a magnifying glass. It's so small.
Well, I think it has to do with more of the IWA shrinking it down because it's basically it's 2 pages with 1 thing on it. So
yeah,
or one.
So hopefully I can get. I put a note about it in my report.
I've told them.
Yeah. So hopefully it's got a lot going on. I feel bad for Joe Boring, who has fantastic interviews with the fans chant Boring at him the whole time.
Sure.
What I love about him is when he does his promos, he like just loads them up with like boring stuff. So it's like, if that was a real wrestler, you'd be entertained by him.
Amazing.
Yeah, you'd be totally entertained. He would be a great ECW wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been really over.
Just grab a headlock and just sit.
Right, just like stretch him out. His finish is the abdominal stretch or the sleeper hold. Probably sleeper hold. We didn't have many new wrestlers. Only one new wrestler this cycle. Big Cat Zen Moyer. Just what I did for the Willowick Classic. Two of the wrestlers that were against each other were inactive.
Mm.
So rather than advance one of them, I actually just dropped both of them and I put Big Cat Zen Moyer in that spot. So he's in this tournament. It's a little bit of a head start, like a bye, if you will. 43rd tournament is still empty. We didn't have enough new wrestlers. So hopefully we're going to have a batch of wrestlers. But, there's a lot going on. Neo Dragon, another home run. Trash talk.
MVP this cycle.
Yeah, he nailed it. And it's also like, it's funny, It reminds me of Koenig, actually, because Koenig used to write trash talk that would make me chuckle out loud. Same idea. We should note, before I get too far into the trash talk, Killer Clown just named the Metropolitan Champion, which makes it back-to-back NWL champions winning the Metropolitan Championship. If you don't know what that is, the top 6 leagues in the IWA compete for one title, which is like Metropolitan title, and that's the wrestler with the best strategy. So the last 2 cycles, it's been the rookies owning that title. So well done, fellas.
It might be the most difficult championship to win, and please do not throw things at me.
That's a hot take. Actually, I'm sorry. Actually, that's one of the hot takes that Adam Cash did that really angered the
Our friends.
masses.
Our friends.
The IWC. Yeah, so Johnny Vegas and Mark Malice, the Rock Simpson Killer Clown feud, escalating, really building to a head. Another good promo by Aaron McFleece and his Strictly Business guys. Oh, God damn it, Billy Jack Novak and his rap.
I hate
if you were a fan of PN News, you'll enjoy Billy Jack Novak. But if you're like, who's PN News? Google PN News and wrestling, and you'll see one of the worst wrestling gimmicks of all time that got a major push back when WCW was trying to reach out.
He should have been in a stable with Men on a Mission.
Oh, yeah. Well, how did that not happen? I love the fact that as soon as he got remotely popular, Dusty Rhodes tied himself to him.
Well, he already got a lot of heat because he used to steal stuff in people's bags when they went out for their matches.
Really?
Yeah.
PN News did?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh,
that's just a rumor and innuendo regarding him.
Well,
allegedly.
That's sad. I will say the wrestler picture for Dr. Victory.
Awesome.
It looks like the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Bum. Is it an NWL recap show? Is that unofficial?
Unofficial.
Unofficial, but well done. Old Man Spivey.
I am for unofficial recaps, by the way.
Yeah. We have the feud between Old Man Spivey and his Monroes against, Old Man Spivey and his Blanks against the Monroe family. That's going down. A big yellow mushroom and Big Yellow had an interesting promo.
John Campbell was he got attacked and beat up pretty well.
Yeah, John Campbell. I won't lie. I'm a mark for John Campbell, the creature feature.
We are, Laura.
I'm rooting for him every cycle to knock it out of the park. And he, as many people have had, not the best cycles. So again, if you're listening to this, Thursday night before the draft. Yeah, that's it. Thursday night before the cycle plays. So this would be after the Steel Cycle Federation runs. Right, Steel Federation cycle plays. I do the IWAR prep. Now that means, I gotta fill my schedule because we don't get paid to do this, believe it or not. That means the 18th. So next Thursday night. Oh, next Thursday the 17th, I'm off of work. I'm off that day, so I will take that night. And Thursday night, I will do the strategy prep. And what I do is I break down essentially what hold values you can ignore and not use because they're going to be safe, and I'll explain why. What holds you want to consider deleting and not using in your strategy because they might be the drops. And it makes a lot more sense when you read through what I have written out. But the last 2 cycles we've done this, the last 2 Metropolitan champions have come from the NWL. Just saying. That's my very poor man rap whistle. I'm a big, what's his name? DJZ fan.
I fucking hate that guy.
He almost died, man. You remember that?
No.
You don't remember when he took a header and like almost broke his neck?
No.
That was terrible.
Every time I seen him, I'm like, click.
He's one of those wrestlers that I feel bad for. I used to follow him on Twitter. Then it was like he was silent for a long time. So I was like, yeah, bye. Yeah. But
we also have a promo by, not in an NWL address. We have a promo from Luther Alexander.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty pissed off.
As well he should be. Yeah. You know, is he pissed off at the Billy Jack Novak and his rapping?
No, he's just pissed off at rookies.
I hate that guy. I'll say, as a person, let me read this aloud so that you understand. People are like, what? So let me just read you the delicious awfulness that is PN News wannabe Billy Jack Novak. He raps every issue, and it's not good. Yo, I'm Billy Jack Novak, and I'm here to say, Durgan did me wrong, and he's guts to pay. Stealing my Western belt like rims off a car, but yo, I got this. He ain't getting far. Nobody got moves like me, and I ain't cheating. I ain't chancing. Gonna have ourselves a match called Last Man Dancing. So that's just some of the quality work from that guy. Although I will say I do enjoy the call line, why? Because I'm fly. Oh, there's some parts of the game that are fun. But anyways, PN News, good lord. Next will be Lasertron.
Oh boy.
Let's see. So that's my NWL take. There's a lot going on there, and I really, it's funny. People often say like, oh, how good's the NWL anyways? I'm like, just spend $1, check it out. Check it out. Especially if you're trying to recruit people. Like I know sometimes we have other people sending like random. Like remember the DXL sent a random like join the DXL. I was like, what the hell? And other leagues have done that, like join our leagues out of the blue. Contact us first, number one. Contact Alex and say, hey, man, I want to work this. And can probably steer you in the right direction. But if you're looking to fill your league with talent, like scout it. Like get off your butt, spend a couple bucks, check out a couple of cycles, see who the big trash talkers are, and then woo them.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Oh, I forgot about the IWO, that we had the Chicago Cubs Cup.
Down,
next cycle. So I contacted the IWA, and it'll be fun that the prize for the next Battle Royal would be $108,000 prize because of the 108 years that the Chicago Cubs did not win the World Series. So in the celebration of the Cubs victory, we're going to have the Chicago Cup coming up next cycle. So Matt, do you want to get into the draft?
Sure. Before that, though, I will talk about Imagine Mania 31.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Imagine Olympics. Oh, so it's 8 years since the last IWA Olympics took place. So they're right on the cutting edge of popularity.
You think they would have done this during the actual Olympics?
I know. So, whoops. Yeah, whatever. There's 10 fields, 100-meter dash, 10,000-meter dash, bench press, discus throw, high jump, hurdles, javelin, long jump, pole vault. So what it is they tell you what the hold numbers are going to be for the wrestlers in this event. So, like, you can say, like, okay, they'll take hold number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., right? That's fine. 100,000 imaginary money plus 25 free matches for winning a gold medal. Silver medals get 25,000 plus 10 free, and so there's a lot of free matches here. Actually, It's actually a pretty good contest. Like a lot of the times, the contest only the winners get prizes. So here, it's like a chance to win a couple of free slots. Personally, I wasn't going to do it, and then I thought the odds of having Fatty the Butcher win a gold medal in the 10,000 meter like run or the 100-meter dash, high jump, just made me laugh my ass off. I might have to do that just so I can have Fatty the Butcher. In fact, if IWA rigged it and gave Fatty the Butcher the win in like the long jump, I wouldn't even complain. I let him keep the matches. I wouldn't care.
There's something about seeing Fatty with a gold medal, like on the podium, eating some ribs, that makes me laugh.
His fist in the air, kneeling.
It's awesome.
So that's the Imagine Mania. So it's going on, and that happens. I believe it's next cycle. So you got to get it done. So I'm going to actually have to give it. It's only $1 per entry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's $1 for every 2 boxes. So what you do is you put your wrestler ID number in there and their league, And then you check off the 2 contests. So you do like, javelin, long jump, or like shot put, pole vault. So yeah, that'll be fun. So IWA Draft. IWAR Draft. Let's talk about the IWAR Draft.
It's not a work.
It's not a work, and that's the thing. Some people had the idea that it is going to be a rigged thing like the SmackDown Raw draft. It's not. It's actually going to be a draft that Alex, Andy, and myself are going to take turns taking picks. So the order is going to be the CWL, IWL, BRL, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we decided?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me pull up the draft page using our Google Docs. Thanks, Andy. So it's CWL, IWL, BRL, and CWL, IWL, BRL, and the wrestlers. And I'm still getting people like emailing me, contacting me, wanting to be in it or not in it. Because what happened is some people were like, "Oh, I want to be in it." And I'm like, "Great, here's your names, fantastic." And then they're like, "Yeah, but I only want to go to like this league or that league." Well, that's not how it works. This is a contest. So what happens is there's 3 areas of the contest, 4 overall actually. The 3 areas are Imaginary Money won, Stars earned, and then IWAR Wrestling points earned. So essentially titles you've won in the contest, while you're there. It's a 6-cycle contest, so it goes from January to whatever the 6th cycle will be, probably May, I think. So the wrestlers currently in it, some are a package deal. So that's fine. That's the one area we allowed to a little leeway. So for example, Psycho Circus, which is Killer Clown, Fingers Fairline, and the Untamed Iron Bull are a package. Black Wrestlers Matter are a package. The Biohazard Boys are a package. Yet the blanks, Big Blank 1 and 2 and Blank, are fine being a package or being individual. So that depends on whoever drafts the first one of the group has to let the other of us know if they're doing that. And that's a 1-pick deal. So it's not like you're like, oh, I pick the blanks and you use 3 picks. No, it's just 1 pick. That's how it's going to roll out. Alex Johnson, CWL, is involved. Neo Dragon, Cowboy Jim Spur, Bagman, Jimmy Hant. Now, I'll pause here for a second, or not pause, but I'll stop here and say that we had numbers of wrestlers from the Noble House want to be involved. And then follow up with, and here's where they want them to go. So, again, it's not a work. So I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of managers. I have a couple of wrestlers from outside the IWAR that are involved, from other leagues that want to get involved. So, it should be fun. And again, the prizes people keep asking about, I'm going to try to bump the prizes up. Right now, I'm looking at probably $10 IWA credit for each category, and that'll be the prize. The other idea we had was make it $5 for each category in each league. So that's 15, that's 45. So it adds up. So if we just do 1 overall for each category, I think it's easier on my wallet. Again, we're just doing this for free. It's just for fun. So I'm using my own credit to back this prize up. So yeah. So again, there are possible trades of draft picks as well. So that's an option.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. But what we're going to do is the official date is looking like it's going to be announced tomorrow. They'll probably run into is we're looking at the 18th most likely. It's a matter of essentially, I think I'm working at 8 o'clock that night. So it'd be Saturday the 18th. It depends on myself, Alex, and Andy all getting our schedules tied up. I'd rather do it on either Friday or Saturday just to have it done so it's not like the night of Sunday I'm trying to scramble to get things done. Yeah. Also, I don't know if IWA is going to bump deadlines around because of the Thanksgiving holiday, so that's another thing to think about. So I'm thinking what might happen with them is they might bump gold to like a Monday morning hard deadline, which means sometimes they let the commissioners like slip in stuff on the day of the deadline. Yeah. But when it's a hard deadline, you've got to get everything in. So that means you have to have everything drafted, done, packed up. As soon as we have the official date, we will post it on the IWAR network. Yes. And once that's there, that'll be that. Yeah. And you'll be able to watch it live as it unfolds. Who will be the number 1 draft pick?
Like I said, I already have my draft board set up. So.
You bastard.
So, guys, we're officially out of time, so I just want to let you guys know that our next episode will be a non-IWAR League review of the NAL and the XPL. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming sometime next week, hopefully.
Yes.
So that should be fun. So for